What's up, guys? Kyle here again, and welcome to another episode of FAQ'N Friday. Thank you guys very much for stopping in. So happy to see you all, as always, even though I can't see you, because I'm talking to a camera, but it's like I'm talking to you, right? No, not really? Not the same at all? Alright, that's fine. Okay, first off, I want to mention, a couple months ago, I stated that I was going to start a reverb store for all of the gear that I had for sale, as part of my massive gear purge, which is still ongoing as it usually always is. But I never started that reverb store, and one of the reasons is because reverb's kind of a pain to deal with sometimes, especially if you get the wrong buyers. I feel dealing person to person over like Facebook or Craigslist is usually much easier. It's much more satisfying for both parties, and you always hate leaving a meetup feeling unsatisfied. But anyways, I typically tend to post my stuff on the Facebook Marketplace and in a lot of the for sale groups. So what I'm gonna do is link you guys down below in the description of the video to my Facebook Marketplace profile. If you guys click on that link, it'll take you to my Facebook Marketplace profile and it'll show you everything that I have for sale currently. And I'm going to be adding to that as the next couple weeks go on because I got a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm going to put up for sale. So instead of the reverb store, I would much rather talk person to person and not have to deal with the middleman that is reverb. You guys can see my seller feedback on there. I have all 5 stars, like 60 some ratings or something like that. So I promise I'm not going to rip you guys off unless you're a jerk. No, but for real, I would really appreciate it if you guys are interested in purchasing some of my gear, some of the stuff that's been on the channel, some of the stuff that's gonna be on there, and all sorts of other things. Click on that Facebook Marketplace link and hit me up if you see anything you like. With that said, let's jump into the first question. Raymond Sanchez asks, so what kind of limo will you guys be rocking with the success of the new album? Can't go wrong with a monster truck kind. We will be lucky to break even after all of our travel expenses moving forward. So if I can break even and even, hell, have my food paid for, that's a good night. Unfortunately, the small music scene is not very lucrative these days. When I first started playing shows back in like 2006, 2007, you could easily make money off playing shows. It wasn't a lot, but you could make money for your efforts. Now, it's kind of weeded out all the people who think that you're gonna make money off music because that doesn't really happen anymore. So smaller bands that are playing frequently, they're in it for the love of the game. I'm very much in it for the love of the game, so no limos anytime soon unless we want to look like total dickheads, which, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. Austin Eldridge, thanks for the question as always, man. He asks, what has been your favorite part about starting your YouTube channel? I appreciate all your comparison videos and how active you are with your followers. That's kind of the best part of it, man. I started it because I had all this gear. I mean, I've said this many times. I had all this gear, and Bushido Code wasn't that active at the time, and I just wasn't really doing a lot with it. Like, I would play it by myself, but I just really like chatting about gear to people. It's obviously, you guys could probably tell by the amount that I have. You know, I love gear. I love trying new amps. I love talking to people about amps, guitars, pedals, everything. So I'm like, man, I really want to figure out a way that I can actually like engage with people and kind of create a community around this. And people have been telling me for a long time to create a YouTube channel, but I just didn't think I had the personality for it. And I really have always been self-conscious of my playing because I'm not very good. And I didn't know how I would be on camera. I mean, there were a million reasons for me to think that it was a bad idea to start the YouTube channel. So once I finally did and it went well, you know, I've been having so much fun with it. But one of the best parts is just talking to you guys. And I mean that with 100% honesty. Like, I get messages all the time, people thanking me for doing the reviews and stuff, which is awesome because the whole point of the channel is to help people and engage with people. So I'm doing both of those things at the same time. So it's really nice that the channel is kind of fulfilling the original goals that I set out for it to do. And yeah, just being able to talk to you guys, and I've met a lot of people through this channel. Some in the industry, some people just, you know, who love gear just as much as I do and hit me up to chat about it all the time. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your guys' support. So I've already formed some awesome friendships. Joe Balaguer comes to mind. He's one of the nicest guys I've met. David from Legendary Tones, like, those guys are fantastic, and I'm so glad I probably would have never talked to those guys if it wasn't for me starting the YouTube channel. So little things like that early on, those have been the best things by far, and it just makes me really glad that I decided to finally take the plunge and put myself out there and do this thing. So that has been the best part. Absolutely. Great question, Austin. Great question, Austin. Great question. Great. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. All right, David Ross coming back with another question. He asks, What's the hardest song for me to play on the new album? The hardest song for me to play on the new album. For some reason, I struggle with the intro of 1600. It's got a barred chord on the first fret, and it's got some pull-offs with a little doodly. I don't know how to say it. I'm not an actual musician. But anyways, for some reason, I just struggle with that part. Every time I try to play it, I kind of goof it up a little bit. Unless we're at practice. I can always play it well at practice, but every time I try to play it on my own, I have to like restart it 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Oh yeah, I suck. But anyways, yeah, that is definitely the hardest part for me to play. Don't ask me why, it just my fingers don't really want to cooperate on that portion of the song. But for the most part, like, I can get through that whole album with very little trouble, and that's surprising to me because a couple years ago, I probably couldn't have played a single song on this album, so being in the band has definitely pushed me to become a better guitarist. Now, I really hope I get some time to buckle down and really work on my guitar chops in the near future, because I want to be able to showcase the amps a little bit better by going through different styles of play and different play tones, not just thrash, but that'll be my focus because I'm Thrash Damon and that's what I do. But yeah, otherwise, that would be the hardest song for me to play on the new album, 1600, the intro. Check it out. It's not that hard at all, but for some reason, I just can't play it that well. All right, G Caro, G something, G Caro, that's what we're going with. Question for your FAQ. I see you love Gibson guitars. Do you like Fender guitars? I do like Fender guitars. I just haven't really met any that like resonate with me. Pun. But for real, I just haven't really got my hands on a Fender that's like blown me away like a Gibson has. I'm open to it for sure, because I just recently have kind of got this weird like Super Strat obsession. You guys saw that with my Schecter Sun Valley that I played for quite a bit not that long ago. I'm trying to land like a Charvel SoCal or something cool like that, but also Squire's new contemporary Telecasters look sick. So I think it'd be awesome to shred with a Squier Telecaster, or not shred because they don't shred. It'd be awesome to thrash with a Squier Telecaster with a Hot Rails pickup in the bridge and see how that does for like the high gain tones. I bet you that would make a fun video. So I think I might try to get my hands on one of those soon, but I'm a big fan of the Stratocaster look and the Telecaster look and the Jaguar look. Honestly, I think Fender guitars are really, really cool. I just have yet to meet one where the specs line up with my interest. Aesthetically, it lines up with my interest, and I actually get my hands on one in order to try it, and it plays well. So I definitely have nothing against Fender guitars, and I'm hoping to get at least a Squier, a cool Squier on here soon, and probably a couple Fenders. We'll see. I'm going to start digging into the guitar stuff a little bit more, remain the focus of my channel on amps, but I would really like to start checking out some cool guitars with you guys. And Fender will definitely be on that list. Honestly, I kind of feel like I already own it, so that kind of takes the fun out of it, because a lot of these are like kind of daydream type things, but I've played a ton of amps, guys, a ton of amps. There's very few left on my list left to check off, but my current rig for Bushido Code, which is my Spawn Super Sport KT88, and my EVH 5153 Stealth 50 watt, combined with a pair of 4x12 cabs, the Spawn cab having V30s and creambacks up top, and the cab for the EVH just being straight V30s. That's my rig, man. I mean, I can put together just about any combination of anything I want, and those are what I've settled on, and I am completely happy with it. There's nothing I change about that rig. That is my end-all rig. If you want to talk about like amps that are just like insanely expensive that most people couldn't afford, it'd be really cool to put like a Wizard Metal or Modern Classic 2 together with a Mezzabarba Trinity through a couple of nice 4x12 cabs and see how that sounds. Now you're talking like, that's $10,000 in amps alone. So, I mean, my rig that I already have is fairly expensive. The average person is not going to be able to put that together themselves. So I am absolutely loving what I have, and it's not cheap gear by any means, but if I were to ever get a Wizard and a Mezzabarba Trinity, I would think that those two paired together would sound absolutely nasty for what I do. So we'll put that in the dream category. Yeah, I'm totally happy with what I have now. I don't even know that those other two amps, if I'd like them or not, because I've never played them. So I'm not going to sit here and dream about an amp I've never played or heard in person. I'm going to go with the things that I know, and those things that I know sound awesome. All right, last question for the day comes from Ryan Wilson. Ryan asks, question, what is your opinion on Friedman amps? I'm thinking about the JJ100. So Friedman amps are awesome. They, don't get me wrong with anything that follows this statement. Friedman amps are incredible. They sound huge. They have this awesome 3D characteristic to them. They've got great note bloom, great note separation. They can be tight. They can basically do whatever you want them to do. They sound fantastic. However, I feel like they're not built for my ear. I feel like they're built for the 80s kind of cock rock and hard rock guys who are trying to play like the EVH stuff, who are trying to play Motley Crue, and just, you know, general hair metal type riffs. I'm not saying that's all that they're for. I'm saying that's kind of to my ear, what they excel at is that somewhat scoopy 80s modded Marshall tone. They're meant to be a bigger, fatter, darker sounding Marshall with more compression, more gain. They sound incredible. Like, I will never play a Friedman and say they don't sound amazing. They're just, for what I want to do, which is play thrash metal, they just don't work well with me. There's some certain frequencies in there that don't sit well in my ear when I'm trying to play that stuff. And also the low end, I think I said this in another video recently, the low end is tight, but it feels kind of soft. It doesn't have that like punchy, like immediate excursion feel that the Splawn does, that you can dial the EVH in to have. So those are kind of like prerequisites for me in my guitar tone. I really like a quick, very big, very punchy low end, but it can't be overwhelming, and I don't want it to kind of be soft or just not really have a kick when you're hitting those big palm mutes. A lot of Wagner amps are the same way to my ear. So that's it. I like Friedmans. I love playing them. I mean, I got a few of them. I love them, but for my thrash metal stuff, they just don't do it for me. But real big 80s or even early 90s grunge tones, man, I don't think that there's anything better out there for those type of tones. And honestly, in the hands of the player, that's what makes the biggest difference anyways. So again, you know, it all comes down to you, how you play, whether the amp suits your play style, suits your ear. But the Friedmans are some of the top of the heap, in my opinion, for basically all high gain styles of music. They just don't quite suit my ear. And that is going to do it for me today. I appreciate you guys stopping in. As always, appreciate the questions. Please, for next week, leave your questions down below in the comments. I'm excited to see what you guys hit me with for next week. I always love answering these questions and engaging with you because, as I said, that is my favorite part of the channel. I love that people have questions for me every week. I'm waiting for the episode where nobody leaves any questions because they don't care about what I have to say about something. I wouldn't be offended, but I'm straight up just waiting for it to happen. So I appreciate that you guys are here every week asking me questions and engaging. I love that. That's why I started the channel. So if you guys want to support me and help me out, I'd love it, for one, if you're not subscribed, to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That helps me out tremendously. But also down in the comments, I have links to my Patreon. Become a Patreon, join our private group chat, get sneak peeks at some of the videos and some of the stuff I'm working on. And also I have my Amazon affiliate links with some of the gear that I use. I've got my friends' pages down there. I've got my DistroKid link. If you guys sign up with DistroKid, I get a little kickback. You get a little discount. All sorts of stuff like that really help the channel, and moving forward, that means a lot to me. So appreciate you guys stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. Kyle here again. We'll see you guys next time.